What's going on, my Harrison Extended family? Thank you so much for being here. Before you do anything else, do me a favor, hit the like button. It lets YouTube know that this is a video worth sharing. It's free and it greatly helps the channel out. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so it'll let you know when I go live and when I upload new videos like I'm doing right now. So you see the title, you see the thumbnail. Let's talk about this, okay? Masculinity is a hot topic today. Whether we're talking about toxic masculinity, what masculinity actually looks like, what manhood looks like. And I think there's a lot of varying ideas coming out of various different sectors in social media. A lot of which aren't really experts. They haven't done the research. They just have an idea based on their own experiences. They share those experiences, come up with some type of ideology, and then they share it with others, and others attach themselves to it. And then there's those who have done research, have done formal schooling, that have done clinical work on this, and they're able to look at manhood as a spectrum and identify core tenets of manhood that apply to all sectors, regardless of where you are in the spectrum of what you feel manhood is all about. And I find that there's a lot of young men disillusioned about the idea of manhood. A lot of what manhood is to a lot of young men, young modern men today, is based on aesthetics, what manhood looks like on the exterior, not really what it is on the interior and how it affects others exteriorly. Is that a word? But you know what I mean. So now we have young men who are incapable of listening to ideas that don't cater to them when it comes to manhood. We do have, but we also have young men who don't want to be told that they're not operating in actual masculinity or actual manhood based on research and the core tenets of what it really means to be a man based on the wide spectrum of men in the world. So there are some core beliefs, core values, core ideas of manhood, of masculinity, that in many cases can't be argued, okay? But then there are also some that can be. One of those things is what I'm going to talk about today, and that's responsibility. When a man like myself, 43 years old, have some experience, have done formal training in behavioral science and marriage and family counseling, with a huge concentration on manhood, because again, I grew up without my father. May he rest in peace. I'm in Atlanta right now, formalizing everything for my father's post-death events, funeral services, things like that. Because he passed away out here. We're going to go back up north and have a service up there. But I'm here now. I grew up without my father. And since I was a young, looking at men and trying to emulate men because I didn't have my father around. Now I'm in a position where I'm a father, and now my sons are emulating me. I have a grandson. And truth be told, he's probably going to emulate me at one point. I remember being a young kid, walking around in my godfather's shoes, wanting to be like him. We had went to Michigan one time, right? And I love him, but he got frustrated with me because everywhere he went, I wanted to go. Everywhere he went, I wanted to go. And it was frustrating because he wanted to go and hang out with his boys from childhood. And here's this 12-year-old kid wanting to latch onto him because he wanted to be around him. I always was searching for manhood. And I in my experience and in my training, I understand this, that responsibility is a component of manhood that cannot be excluded. If you lack responsibility, you lack, in essence, at the core, what it really means to be a man. Now you can say, like I have been told, Dre, who are you to be the gatekeeper of manhood? The problem is a lot of you young men believe that older men have nothing to say to you You know what makes me a gatekeeper and other old men who have experience? That we've been through what you've been through, and we have some insight to give you. And because we care about young people, we care about our future, and we care about you, we're going to be the gatekeepers. We're going to tell you when you're acting like a little boy. It is what it is. And the problem is this. A lot of you, and again, I talk about these young men from Miami often, but a lot of you get your manhood cues from young men that are maybe 5 years older than you that haven't experienced much, who haven't gone through things, and, truth be told, have not successfully been in situations that they're telling you you should be in. Some of these people on YouTube have not become successful until after they started their YouTube channel, until after they became polarizing and gained a following and got your money in patrons, becoming their patrons, and your views on YouTube. They haven't become rich or they weren't that successful prior to that. But they're telling you how to be successful based on your money. There's no difference in pastors, megachurch pastors, or any pastor for that matter, telling you by you giving to me, you're going to be rich. There really is no difference. Okay? A lot of pastors didn't become wealthy until after they started a church or pastored a church and got rich off the giving. A lot of these guys on YouTube have not become successful until after you guys started to give them your money. Either through super chats, super stickers, super thanks, being patrons, watching their videos over and over again, getting them AdSense. And they're telling you how to be a man, and they themselves haven't really experienced what it means to be a man or what it means to be a responsible man. You can call me whatever you want. You can disagree with me however you want. But the truth of the matter is this. Across history, in every society, men are responsible for their families, for their wives, for their children, for their communities. They have been responsible. You can't claim to be a man and then say, I don't want to be responsible for anything. Then stay a little boy, play your video games, all right? But don't call yourself a man. Kevin Samuels, and I'm in HCL right now, so Kevin Samuels, shout out to him, may he rest in peace, was getting on men, putting men in their place. Putting men in their place. And this is why he's not red pill. This is why I believe Kevin Samuels was never red pill, even really part of the toxic part of manosphere. He was manosphere, but I don't think he was like that crazy into it. But he definitely wasn't red pill. He was telling men how to be better. How to be better, right? Now, let me go back. He was an older man who have dealt with relationships unsuccessfully and was trying to give insight based on a lot of his failures. I can respect that. Okay? I disagree with him on a couple of things. That I can respect. However, a lot of you men who now swear by Kevin Samuels would have hated him 5-6 years ago. Hated him. Because he says, even some of the things that he said back then, some of the things I'm saying right now, but in a way harsher tone to you. But since he started talking to women primarily, you guys are all, yeah, Kevin Samuels go. But if he was to have a conversation with you, he'll probably tell you, you're a boy. You're acting like a boy. What made Kevin Samuels a gatekeeper for manhood? Because he experienced some things and understands there's some insights that he can give that will be beneficial to boys growing up. Because a lot of you guys, like myself, grew up without fathers. Which is why you're latching on to people like Andrew Tate, the young man from Miami, other red pill content creators like RT and Rollo Tomasi and others, right? Because you guys are searching for what it means to be a man. I wrote a whole book about the journey of a boy becoming a man and what steps they should take or can take. Because I understand the importance of like growing up as a young boy and trying to be a man in society today. It's very difficult. And then you got so many different ideologies coming at you all at once telling you men should be doing this, men should be rich, men should be driving Bugattis, men should be having 50 women before they get married. Intimately. Like all these ideologies. And you know what lacks in all of those? The responsibility component. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this with conviction. If you are not responsible for anything or anybody or anyone, you lack what it means to be a man in the very essence and core of what masculinity is all about. Masculinity is not all about just going to the gym and working out. Masculinity is not all about being able to build a house. It's a part of it, but it's not only about that. Masculinity is not about getting rich and driving nice cars and sleeping with multiple women. But actually, masculinity is definitely not that at all. It's not. At the core, responsibility. And truth be told, like, I believe that Jesus was the most masculine man in the world. He modeled masculinity to the highest degree. And a lot of what he teaches is, and a lot of what he modeled was about responsibility, right? A young man willing to die for his friend. Things like that is a component of responsibility. Jesus modeling that by dying on the cross he took on the responsibility of everybody in the world, their sins, and died. Responsibility is what it really means to be a man. Not perfect. So you can be broke. You can be broke, right? You can have a job working $18 an hour. But if you show up for your kids and you're responsible for your kids, you're more of a man than a guy who has 12 kids, 5 Bugattis, 2 mansions, a yacht, and they don't see their kids at all, are not responsible for their kids at all. You're more of a man than those guys are. But today, society doesn't look at it that way because the devil wants to twist what it means to be a man so that you don't be a man, so that women can rise in your place, take over society, and sort of shake up the balance that exists from the beginning of time. And you guys are falling for it. The less responsible you become, the more responsible women will become and remove you from your place. And this is why Red Pill exists today. Because they're upset that women have become to a place where they're replacing men, or, which I don't agree with, looking at men as expendable. You really want to become a man? You really want to be the man that you were created to be, a man with purpose? Understand this. You'll never become a man. You'll never be full in your masculinity unless you start operating in responsibility. It will never happen. You may not like this tea, or this coffee. You may not like this coffee, but it's the truth. One of the things that would really benefit those who watch the Red Pill is if the Red Pill truly starts focusing on responsibility. Then the Red Pill will have actual value. And not just men, not just in relationships, but in society as a whole. You can't be a masculine man without responsibility. Peace.